This is the Hammer Down Racing Report.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report for November 5th, show number 155. And it's been quite a week. Scott Hammer here with you.
Yes, it has.
Jerry Keyser, Ron Miller, your host, coming at you live from the Hammer Down Racing Report home studios. Coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and I see Twitter and Periscope as well. And they're all working. So, yay.
Yay.
That's a good thing. I don't know if you saw this, but thank you guys. Thank everybody for voting for us for the Best of Toledo City Paper deal. Best podcast in Toledo. We're the top 6 finalists there. So voting going on now. If you head on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report. I have.
Oh, don't go there now. Wait till after the show.
Well, we'll remind you at the end of the show, but just to prepare for it, allow yourself a couple extra minutes after the end of the show tonight to go there and vote for us, because you can do this once per day per email address. So if you got 5 email addresses, you can vote like 5 times per day, I think. I don't know the legalities. It could be fraudulent voting. I don't know how long it's going to take to count, but I don't care. So just go there and vote.
It's the only election that matters.
That's it.
There you go. We appreciate everybody at least getting us on there for.
This is the only election where you can vote regularly and vote often.
Yeah, and you don't have to show up and wear a mask or anything.
Right.
I mean, you can. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to wear a mask, that's fine. No more power to you. We're cool with that. Either way.
People like it when I wear a mask.
Might think you're a little strange, but
yeah. Well, chances are nobody's going to see you doing it unless somebody else is in the room. But that voting, I believe, goes on through December 18th. I'll double check on that. We'll let you know. I know it goes on through at least December, and I don't think they announce the winner until February, because they got to count the votes. And, they have representatives from all the parties there standing over top of them, making sure they're counting them right.
Within 6 feet. And
yes.
Then they have to plan time for protests. And
make sure you don't use a Sharpie. A Sharpie, I guarantee you, will not work in this case. You have to use your mouse pointer. Sharpies will not work. You cannot just write on your screen.
Or your finger if you're doing it on your phone.
And that's mostly for our listeners in Florida, because I think Florida is where they seem to have issues with dangling chads. Is that what it was years ago?
Yeah.
Hanging chads, yeah.
So anyways, some other big news tonight that you may or may not have seen. I shared this on Facebook. On our the Hammer Down Racing Report Facebook thing. I'm no longer employed by that one company who shall not be named anymore going forward. So we decided that we're going to keep doing the show. It's not going to be a big deal. There may be some technical changes. I probably will have to return some of this equipment, but I'm going to try and get different equipment. Just because the equipment goes away, if it does not mean that the show will go away. It may sound a little less.
We won't let that happen, folks.
Yeah,
no, it's not going to happen.
But if you want to be a studio sponsor, we can hook you up. It's going to cost you a little chunk of change, but that'll get us some new equipment. We'll give you studio sponsorship of the show. That means like it used to be the Ron Miller Race Car Studios. It would be the Your Business Here Studios for at least a year. We'll give you an ad in the show. I've already had some interest in it, so we'll see how that goes. A lot of stuff to play out, but in the short term, things will go on, and you probably won't notice much of a change. But on the show tonight, as we said, there's a lot going on. We have the Attica champions on, at least 2 of them. We'll speak with Cap Henry here in just a minute. So I guess I forgot about that. We have Caps before we get to Devin, so you don't have to go slow, Jerry.
Okay.
You don't have to do your sloth read. Inside joke. Never mind. Radio for one. Devin Shiels will be joining us as well a little bit later. Those late model champion, Cap Henry at 410 champion at Attica. We did invite Paul Weaver, but we understand he's not big on doing interviews and being on radio and stuff like that. So, I mean, he had a great season. And he championed both.
Someone with as much racing experience as him, as many microphones as have been obviously thrust in front of him after his hundreds of feature wins, you'd think he'd be okay with it, Scott.
Well, I reached out to Andrea as well, and she's like, I can't make him do anything. So
he lets it drive and do the talking.
And it speaks volumes. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Hammer Report, follow us on YouTube, listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever, or the company that shall not be named. If that's what you so choose, that's fine too. We're okay with that. Later on in the show tonight, we have a big announcement, a big race announcement. We have some local promoters, not just one track, but two separate tracks working together. You may know what one of those tracks are because they had been promoting things. During. I got distracted here. Actually, I got a text because I forgot to do this. Get our sponsor scroll going there on the screen. Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, two different tracks coming together, putting on a big event. One of those has already kind of promoted that they're being on the show, so you may know what one of those tracks are. It was
Scott, that's enough information.
Okay.
Just knock it off. Good grief.
That'll be later on in the show. We'll talk to both of them and hear what they have to say and find out what that big, huge announcement is. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I do too.
I think you'll like them. Thanks to Romular Race Cars in Lambertville, Michigan, 734-856-7223 for race cars, parts, safety equipment, service. What do you got going on, Ron? Anything good?
Just building trucks, Scott.
Building those Fremont trucks?
We talked about that last week. The 911 truck, boy, I'm telling you, it did us a whole lot of good. We've got 2 new chassis in the shop under construction right now. A third one will be on the way, and I've got 3 more trucks coming in for significant updates. So,
can you build me a 911 bomber?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe you'll get more bomber business next year.
You got a job?
No.
Oh.
Are you hiring?
Can you weld?
I probably could. I probably wouldn't be very good, but probably burn holes right through things, but I'm sure I could do it. I'm a quick learner. Big D's Pizza, also major sponsor, Big D's in Clyde. Give them a call, 419-547-1444. Mention the Hammer Down Racing Report and save 10% off any order.
Speaking of Big D's, Scott, I was talking to Dean before the show tonight. Dean Henry, the owner of Big D's Pizza. Last week we did the How Many, and Scott Warner, like we do every week. Scott Warner actually won the large pizza from Big D's, and Dean told me that Scott emailed him and let him know to go ahead and donate that large pizza to a local homeless shelter, which Dean was glad to do. But he not only did he donate that large pizza, he upped it to a jumbo and threw in some 2 liters of pop too. So what a great spot for Dean and for Scott, both of them. Thank you to both those gentlemen for doing something great like that.
Dean is an awesome guy.
Both guys, unbelievable.
Yes. Yep. Very cool.
Yes,
very good feel good moment.
Scott's pretty good too.
Maybe we'll have to take Scott to Big D's Pizza and have a company picnic there somehow.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great idea.
Speaking of Scott, thanks to Millstream Speedway. Racing will be starting there soon. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, or their website, millstreamspeedway.net. With that, let's do our racing roundup real quick. What do you got, Jerry?
All right, racing roundup this week. The Dryden World Short Track Championships, Kyle Strickler on the Dirt Car Summit Racing Equipment UMP Modified feature at the dirt track at Charlotte. Strickler took on all comers, including young Daniel Sanchez, who's won a couple championships here at Lima Land. Had a great run. I believe he finished 9th overall, but Strickler picked up the big win. The World of Outlaws Morton Building late models were in action last night, with Brandon Overton picking up the win in the opening night of the dirt track at Charlotte for the last call weekend. It was his 13th career series victory. Donnie Schatz and Kyle Larson were both in action, with Schatz finishing 4th. Larson had a little trouble in the feature, ended up finishing 23rd, but I'll tell you what, he had a great start to the night, setting the track record at Charlotte at 14.305, if I remember correctly. But great.
Whoa.
Breaking news!
Uh-oh.
Kyle Larson has just beat his track record that he set last night.
Wow.
Tonight, turning a lap at 14.183 seconds.
0.2 quicker than last night?
Yeah. So
wow.
Sorry to interrupt. some breaking
No,
news there.
no, thank you very much. Kyle Larson, what can be said about that young man except thank God he's going back to NASCAR for all of our dirt track friends. Speaking of NASCAR, well, before that, with the World of Outlaws late models finish up their season tonight, the final night of the last call for them. The second half of the last call is going to have the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, and that'll run tomorrow, Friday night, and Saturday night at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. NASCAR racing, Grant Enfinger earned a shot at the championship by winning the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series Hall of Fame 200 at Martinsville last Friday. Brett Moffitt, lost my place there. Brett Moffitt, Sheldon Creed, and Zane Smith will join Enfinger to compete for the championship on Friday in the Lucas Oil 150 at Phoenix International Raceway at 8 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Harrison Burton won his second NASCAR Xfinity Series race in a row after taking the checkered flag in Saturday's Draft Top 250 at Martinsville. Justin Allgaier will join Austin Cindric, Justin Haley, and Chase Briscoe in the championship Ford at the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 200 at Phoenix on Saturday at 5 p.m. on NBC Sports Network. Chase Elliott raced his way into the championship four after a dominating win in Sunday's Xfinity 500 at Martinsville. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski will compete in the championship four at the season finale at Phoenix on Sunday at 3 p.m. on NBC. And that'll do it for this week's Racing Roundup.
All right, we'll have Devin Shiels on in here in just a minute. Cap Henry, actually, we talked to him just a little bit ago. I don't want to lie and say this is live because we did this about an hour ago. We talked to Cap because he had another commitment going on. So here's our conversation with Cap, and then we'll be talking to Devin Shiels, both champions of Attica Raceway Park. So not to freak everybody out, but when I put this in, there we go. So now there's a whole bunch of us. We're doubled. We're everywhere. So, all right, we'll shut up. Here's our interview with Cap. All right, we're here with Cap Henry. Cap, congratulations on a championship season there at Attica. I mean, you were making lots of headlines this season.
Spectacular year.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good season. Obviously, we were pretty fortunate for all the races we won there, and we just ran really well there in general. And, with the late start and everything, nobody was sure how it was going to go, and we were lucky.
Scott distracted himself.
Scott forgot to turn his phone off. 7 feature wins, though, this year. I mean, that's pretty outstanding. Is that the most you've had at Attica in the single season?
Yeah, that actually topped the most amount of races we've ever won in a season. So definitely the most we've ever won at one track in a year.
And it's your first championship since you were in go-karts. I found that hard to believe.
Yeah, so I never really ran a lot of stuff full-time for a points championship. So we just, so we ran, when I started sprint car racing in 2005, I only ran 305 for a couple of years. Then I jumped into 410 stuff. We did Attica Fremont for 1 year. And then in 2010, I started doing the All-Star deal. And I did the All-Star deal all the way through 2016. So I didn't run a whole lot of just local points championships. So I ran locally in 15 and then in 18 again when I got in the lane racing car. And we came really close a lot of times in Brett's car. And just this year was the first year we pulled it off.
Going back to the beginning, did you find the transition from 305s to 410s very difficult, or was it pretty easy for you?
No, it wasn't too bad. The biggest thing, obviously, is just the horsepower difference, and then just the engine weight. The 305s are steel blocks, steel head at the time, versus the 410s are aluminum. So the front ends they're light. So that was the biggest difference. But I didn't, it took a lot of years to get really good in a 410, but just initially driving one, it wasn't a huge adjustment.
Cool.
You've been really good at a lot of local tracks around here, including Attica, Fremont. I've seen you had some great runs at Waynesfield over the years as well. Is there any local track that you can peg that as your favorite one to race at?
Waynesfield Raceway Park has to be my favorite racetrack. I've just always had a lot of fun there. I used to hold the track record there. It's just a really neat little racetrack. I was super disappointed that we didn't get to race there at all this year. But yeah, it's just, I've only ever won one race there, but it's just it's definitely my favorite racetrack to go race at.
Now, speaking of jumping from a 305 to a 410, do you think you could do what Kyle Larson did and jump into a dirt late model and go out and set fast time?
That's just crazy. I don't know how he does it. Because it's about. I've got to say those two cars probably about have to be as far apart as you can get in driving, two different types of dirt cars. So for him to go out there and do that's just absolutely crazy.
Are you glad that he's going back to NASCAR? Speaking as a sprint car driver.
Else.
Okay. Tell us about the Big D sponsorship deal that happened this year. I know Dean had called me earlier in the season, was all excited.
Yeah, he came on. I want to say it was right around Ohio Speed Week. Just wanted to help out, and Dean's a great guy. Big D's Pizza, they've got great food. And it was just a really helpful. He helps out with tires, and he helped out with some money, and all that stuff goes such a long ways. And then obviously, he helps us out. He gives us food, and
food's important.
It just worked out really well, and just glad that he came on board there.
Is he still on board for next year?
Yes. He's trying to up how big his logo is, and we've got a lot of different things going on with different sponsors. So we're early on and trying to work that out for everybody.
All right. Does that mean you're still running for Lane Racing then next year?
Yes, I will be in the Lane Racing 4-car again next year. The schedule will probably be a little bit different than it was this year. We're probably going to try and travel a little bit more and probably not run a local points championship. We're not getting too big yet, like trying to do the All-Star deal or anything, but we're going to try and travel a little bit more.
So not really going for any championships or anything next year?
No, the biggest thing is, eventually the plan is we'd like to try and do the All-Star deal with that car. So the plan is to try and build up to it slowly, not just jump in and with both feet. So, we're trying to kind of build the notebook per se, and, just work on, seeing what we need to do to be better at that kind of stuff and just try and improve as a team.
Gotcha. So what was your most fond memory of this past season? Any wins stand out more than the others?
The Speed Week wins definitely stand out. So it took me last year, I got my first All-Star win at Wayne County. I had come really close for so many years, between Attica and just Waynesfield, different races, and just never won a Speed Week show. So, we won the Attica Speed Week opener. That was really big. That's my home racetrack, so that meant a lot. And then, we went out and picked up another one at Wayne County. So that was, to win 2 races during Ohio Speed Week meant a lot. And those were definitely the ones that stood out for me.
So what was different this year that led you to the championship and those 7 wins?
I don't know if there's really anything different. It was just actually what didn't change. Zach Myers was on his second year working with the team. We actually, the car that we ran all of this year is the car that we finished last year with. So we had a lot of consistency, and we were able to just really work on our program and just fine tune certain things to get better in different situations. So I think it was just the consistency is what helped us build and just get better and better throughout the season.
Excellent. Off-season plans? Are you doing some indoor racing?
Yeah, we're getting ready for the Rumble in Fort Wayne. I'll be there with my midget and my Wing 600 mini sprint. And I'm actually getting ready to go do probably my final go-kart race of the year this Sunday at Fremont Raceway Park.
Wow. All right. One last question. Unless Jerry or Ron, you guys got anything else?
I'm good.
I'm good, sir.
Last question. We did this last year. We asked all the champions, and we'll ask Devin this a little bit later. Paul's a little shy. He doesn't like to do radio, so unfortunately, we're not getting him on. But if you, Devin Shiels, and Paul Weaver were all in, I don't know, let's say dirt late models. No, minivans. Who would win in that race?
I don't know. That'd be
and why?
That's a hard one. It'd be a pretty close race all the way across the board. Devin's really good, and Paul's just one of those guys. You can never rule him out. I think I might have the ability to get up on the wheel and make it happen, though. I haven't raced any minivans, though.
All right, there you go. That's the right answer. Me, I'm going to win. Well, good luck in Fort Wayne and at Fremont in your go-kart there, and we wish you luck next season as well. And remember, you were on at the beginning of the season on the Hammer Down Racing Report.
Yeah.
And we told you that usually our guests go on and win the next week. I don't know if you did that or not, but you got 7 wins this year at Attica alone. So hopefully this will help you going forward in the offseason and into next season.
I mean, it sure can't hurt, that's for sure.
We'll have to get him back on in the spring, Scott.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, I suppose I have to turn myself up. Our interview with Cap Henry, we recorded just a little bit ago. Let's get everybody else back on here. And now we'll bring in other champion at Attica Raceway Park this year. Second championship for Mr. Devin Shiels.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Are you in your race shop there?
Yep.
Very nice. That's a nice looking shop you got there. So this was your second Attica late model title, but you won this by just 2 points, right?
Yeah, we ended up had to finish third if Matt Irie won the race, and sure enough, Matt Irie won the race, and we were able to actually get third and 2 points, win by 2.
Wow. Was that a double points night?
Yes, it was. I hate them things.
Well, I'm sure you'd like it if it worked for you, though, right?
Yeah, but usually it doesn't.
All right.
Especially at the end of the year. I don't like the end of the year. Track's fast. Irie had the advantage because he's pretty good on the tacky stuff.
All right.
Devin, it looks like you've got one car behind you that's pretty much ready to go and another one that's on its way together. What are you going to do all winter?
I've got a lot more work. The one over here, we're pulling the engine out of this one. And then that's got to go back to Chuck's. And then the other one was the one we flipped. It needs all body, waiting on the motor, and probably going to have to go through one of the rear ends in one of the cars.
Just one?
Yeah, I think they're still good. It's just we want to upgrade. We broke 2 J-bar mounts this year, and it just seems like I pulled them out of my older cars. We pulled it out of a 16 and our 15 car, and we would just keep reusing the same rear end. So we're going to have to upgrade, and it was a little rough on them this year with flipping one, and the track surface was a little bit hard on a couple of them.
I've heard that the tracks were a little rough a couple of nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a few.
So I'm guessing that and we talked to you earlier in the season when you'd had that flip. That was your primary car, right? That was the one you were going to run primarily for this season. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was my older of the 2 cars, but it was going to be the primary for this year. We were hoping to get the motor back, but with COVID, I think Chuck's still waiting on rings that he still hasn't got. And so if he gets that motor done, we're going to drop this one off and hopefully get this one back before February at least.
So did that cause any issues for you or any hurdles to overcome? You know, after you flipped that car was done for the season, having to go to the newer car, I guess.
Yeah, that car I flipped was ready to go at the end of the season last year, and the engine was already in it. It was ready to go, so that's why we went with that one. And the 18 car, we just sat here, put a new body on it, and let it sit until we were going to get the motor back. And then COVID hit, and that ended up after we flipped, we had to pull the motor out of the 17 car, put it in the 18 car, and yeah, we had to scramble.
So you didn't have a backup car then this season?
No, we had a car, but it definitely was not ready for a backup.
Okay. Didn't you borrowed, was it Herb Reich's car that night you
Yep.
flipped it for the feature, at least at Oak
Yeah.
Shade?
Yeah, and I ended up wrecking that one too.
Did he appreciate that?
He didn't. He was pretty good about it. I think it was Kester that got the quarter panel, but I took the front nose. The track was really hammered down and rough, and I ended up folding the nose under the car, and I don't think I've ever done that on any of my cars.
So did you have any bad issues at Attica this year then? Anything like the flip or any other bad accidents?
Yeah, luckily on the points, we extended the season, and we had one night that was for more money, so they didn't run points. They just did show-up points. And I ended up knocking the water pump. The fan broke, went into the radiator, and then it knocked the water pump right off the front of the block.
Broke some bolts, didn't it?
Yep, pulled the bolts right out of the block, and we had to scramble. Chuck Nooning came down to the shop Saturday morning. Healy coiled everything back in, got us another water pump. He actually stole the parts from our other motor and brought it with him, and helped us get it back together for Saturday at Oakshade. So
you had to work for that championship at Attica this year?
Yeah. Luckily, it wasn't for points, so that pretty much just made Oakshade Friday I think we had a DNF, and that was the only night that wasn't for points, so it didn't hurt us in the points, and it just set us back for Oakshade. I think I got there at 10:30 or 6:30, 7 o'clock at Oakshade the next day, because we had a cracked block still, and we had the glued-in water pump.
So how disappointed were you with? I know it would have been 4 in a row had you got the championship at Oakshade as well. Were you disappointed with missing out on that?
Yeah, I was. I wanted to get 4 in a row, but Kester was on all year, and we were off all year, and I just didn't have. Usually, we're a bottom feeder kind of driver and car, and I just couldn't get a rhythm going, and I think we wrecked 3 nights, and if you're going to wreck 3 nights, you're going to be done in the points.
All right. Well, let's think of happier things. What was your favorite memory of this past season at Attica?
I think it was the 2000 to win race we won. I can't remember if it was in June or July, but it was in the hotter days in the slicker track, and that gave us a little boost and put some money in our pocket for getting the cars cleaned up a little bit and getting some parts ordered for the one that flipped, and it was a fun night.
Didn't Attica put down some fresh clay this right before the season?
Yeah, they did it the year before they did it, and it was kind of powdery, and it never really cleaned off, and pretty much you had to run the bottom to middle, and the high side just wasn't there all last year. So they brought in all new clay, and I think Pork Chop spent some extra time on it, and by about mid-season it cleaned off and kind of was the normal Attica racing that we're used to.
Well, it seemed to work out for you. What are your plans then for next season? Are you going to defend there at Attica, maybe try for another one at Oakshade, or going to be running elsewhere? What's going on? You got the cars.
Yeah, we'll probably do the same thing. We'll probably go Attica, Oakshade. Just depends on how everything's going. Oakshade's just so close, I can't not go. It's 40 minutes from the house, so I don't know if we'll run every night, but we'll try, and as long as it's fun, we'll keep going.
Any thoughts of catching maybe some summer nationals shows this in 21?
Yeah, we tried Plymouth this last year. We did. I've been there 5 times and only raced once, so shows how good that goes when we go there. Usually it rains out, and it's always on a Tuesday or Wednesday, so it's a long haul. Got to do that this year. Did some Merritt racing before when COVID shut everything down at the beginning. I don't know how Merritt got going, but we went up there for a 2-night show and burnt some tires off. And now we'll probably just pick and choose where we want to go.
All right. We got a question here from one of the sponsors on Ryan Missler. Seems to come up this has been going on for at least 2 or 3 years now. You guys calling each other cheaters, right?
He just calls me a cheater. I don't call him any names. But yeah, he thinks there's some magic or something, I guess. So that's why the main reason I put him in the race car the one year was just to show him I had nothing special.
And I believe he got in an accident or something when he was in your backup car that one night.
Yeah. Put a hole in the nose, and they covered it with coats by the time I got back. And I think we won that night, and had to take home a bent up race car.
Well, you had plenty of time to fix it, right?
Yeah. Had all season.
All right. So one last question for you. The same question that you saw we asked Cap Henry there. You, Cap, Paul Weaver, champions of Attica, equally prepared minivans on the dirt. Let's say it's an 8-lap heat race. Who's going to win it? And why?
I've got the advantage because I've actually drove a minivan because I've got kids. But probably Cap Henry just because he's a sprint car driver and they're usually a little off. If there's no limit on tires, the sprint car guy's going to win. But if there's some tire wear, I think we got him in the late model.
Okay. Well, you are up against two other sprint car drivers, so they may not be used to being so close where you can put the fenders on them.
Yeah, that's true. They don't like to bump, so late models do a lot of bumping.
Especially this year, right?
Yeah, this year was a lot.
All right. Any plans for the off season? I know I said that was my last question. I lied. Sorry.
I'm hoping snowmobiling. That's we go up north and snowmobile with the kids and kind of our winter hobby, and hopefully get the cars done, and that's about it. Hopefully enjoy normal. Hopefully it goes back to normal, everything.
Hopefully. If it does all get back to normal, you got any new sponsors coming on board for 2021?
Yep, I've got Continental Service. He joined us. He was a longtime friend of ours and owned Racers Connection back in the day. Pretty much got us started into racing. He's on the car this next year, and Dirt Nerds podcast is going to be back again, and the rest of them, Rallies and Magic Fountain Auto Wash, are going to be on too. So that's their. Rallies has been on my car for 20 or 16 years, 17 years. So we're trying to keep a hold of them.
Going to do anything different with the paint scheme in 2021? I'm staying with the white and red or orange.
I would like to. I just got to get Banshee to get it done. I think we're gonna do two different schemes, so you'll be able to tell the cars apart at least.
Very cool.
We would do like one's a negative, make one black.
Yeah, I am looking for suggestions because I was almost going to go back to the old blue-white car that I had in Sportsman, or I just haven't had a scheme longer than this scheme we've got, and so it's hard to go back to a throwback, and nobody knows what it is.
Well, and it's been working for you. You got how many championships now in the past 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, we got 5, I think.
Yeah,
totally 5.
You got to shake up the color schemes every couple of years.
I'm one to, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this car that's sitting here. I'm gonna leave this one alone. The other car, it's gonna be hard with the black chassis, so we might do some darker colors since we got to put a whole new body on anyways. So we might change up that car a little bit.
Right,
got to get the luck changed on that one at least.
Yeah, keep it wheels down too.
Yeah.
So your next race scheduled for Attica when they open up next year, is that?
Yep. Since they canceled the banquet, that'll be our next thing we got to go to, and we might, I don't know, depending on if the weather turns, we might go Merritt again. I don't know. We'll see. If my wife goes up north, we sometimes sneak up there and run Merritt every once in a while.
There's always the hangover race at Sandusky, New Year's Day.
That's not happening.
Oh, come on, man.
Keep trying.
There's no engines. I don't have any engines. They're all be at Chuck.
Take the snowmobile engine out, put it in there. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, that we'd be a little under horsepower.
Maybe they'd let you run with the 4 cylinders.
Yeah, I think I'd still be under horsepowered.
I think that'd be pretty funny, seeing a bunch of 4-cylinders beating the crap out of your late model.
Yeah, my 900 turbo isn't strong enough to pull a late model around.
Put a big sideboard on it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Ron's got some. He can help you out.
Yeah.
All right, Devin. Well,
I could help you out with the sideboard.
yeah. Congratulations on the championship, and good luck again next year. Look forward to seeing you race once again at Oakshade and Attica.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Devin.
See ya.
Thanks,
See you
Devin.
guys later.
All right, Devin Shiels, your 2020. It's a terrible year. It just keeps getting worse. Champion there at Attica Raceway Park. What?
I did forget one thing in the racing roundup. Some more feel good news. Big B Speedway ran their 2020 version of the Fall Classic this past Sunday. Tony Bieber puts that on every year up there in Gibsonburg. And RJ Cornett picked up the win this year in a great event. Lots of great pictures. You get a chance, go to Big B Speedway on Facebook and check out some of that. The great pictures from that event.
Scott, did you see that Brad Blake won in Australia last weekend? Big race win for him, and he tied the number of wins in a career at the Motorplex.
I did not until John Deere shared that there, but I didn't realize they were running down in Australia. I thought they were still locked up because of COVID.
No,
They're running down there?
Yep, within their state, there's no problem. They're opening things up a little bit. I talked to our good friend Des Ferris a couple nights ago, and things are, by our standards, there is no virus there.
But they're still not going to have the USA invasion thing, are they?
I don't see that happening. No.
That's unfortunate.
If anyone comes into the country, they're still quarantined for at least 14 days. The USA invasion won't happen.
All right. Well, we got a few little racing tidbits here to get to, some news, and then it looks like we have our other guests waiting in the wings, our other racetrack promoters who we have not said who they are yet, and that big announcement coming up here momentarily. Everybody's... Stop pointing at your shirt, Jerry. Just make you smaller so nobody can read it anyways. The 2311 racing officials have announced that the new NASCAR Cup Series team will field Toyota race cars next season.
Surprise.
The 2311 Racing, which is co-owned by NBA legend Michael Jordan and current NASCAR Cup Series driver Denny Hamlin, will make its debut in the Daytona 500 next February with Bubba Wallace behind the wheel of the number 23 Camry. So, there you go. And it does have you guys see the car design? They released a picture of it with the 23 on it.
Have not looked yet.
It's got the white, black, and red Michael Jordan sneakers colors on the car.
All right.
So I mean, it looks pretty sharp. It's all right. It's not bad. NASCAR officials have announced the schedule for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which will mirror many of the changes that were announced on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for 2021. The Xfinity Series will join the Cup Series for 32 of its 33 weekends, including running the first time at Circuit of Americas on May 22nd, and for the first time since 2011 at Nashville Super Speedway on June 19th. The series will return to Mid-Ohio on June 5th. For the only event at a venue apart from the Cup Series. I don't know if you guys heard this, but Devin kind of mentioned it when we were talking to him a little bit ago. Attica Raceway Park announced on Tuesday that there will not be an awards banquet this year due to the COVID-19 restrictions. Point fund checks will be mailed out to those champions. Big Game Motorsports has signed sprint car star David Gravel to pilot the Killer Instinct Crossbows back #2 next year. The team plans on competing full-time with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series and will debut together next February down in Florida. iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations has announced that NASCAR veteran Dale Earnhardt Jr. is joining the company as an executive director and part of the company's management committee. Additional responsibilities that Earnhardt will take on in his new role include esports, strategy, marketing, partnerships, and licensing. So I don't know if it means he's going to be playing games or what. I know he goes back to like when I used to do the sim racing back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, back when it was new, and I was a lot younger. But he's still into that, and I guess he can afford all that new equipment now. So he's part of that. He's getting paid for it now.
The way sim racing burned a couple of drivers this year, they could be looking for new talent.
Yeah. Oh, I got one more thing here, and it's kind of this too. Some more breaking news. The 2021 Chili Bowl Nationals will run with attendance restrictions. I believe they're going to be limiting the attendance to 25% this year. So that normally packed, what is it? The Tulsa, I forget what it's called.
Tulsa Expo Center.
Yeah, that place is usually packed. It's only going to be a quarter packed this time. And I guess there's details at chilibowl.com as far as if you purchase tickets, because if you don't want to go, you can defer, I think, till 2021. There's all kinds of information on there. Available. Yeah, options on there. So once again, COVID striking big. Coming up, we'll be doing this week's How Many. We also have a Hammer Down hotline, as a matter of fact, before we finish things up. But right now, let's bring in our special guests. Do we want to say who they are, or should we just pop them in?
Oh, let's see if people recognize them.
All right. Well, first we'll bring in Mr. Scott Warner.
Hello.
How's it going, Scott?
Excellent. How's everyone doing?
Good, sir. Wow. Good to see you.
Scott Warner, of course, he's got the shirt on there, so you'll be able to tell where he's from. We're also going to bring in Mr. Chris Mize. Everybody knows where he's from. Right, Chris?
What's going on, guys?
He's Mr. Sandusky Speedway, along with Doug Doc. See these two on the Sandusky Speedway videos all the time. So we got all three of you here, and I think we'll start off with Scott with what that big announcement is.
Well, sure. So there's been a lot of talk about this. I think the talk really started on your guys' show, not by me, but just kicking around between, I think, Ron and some people, that Millstream really needs to have the Hangover 2. And so after a lot of talk going back and forth with a lot of people, definitely talking with Chris and Doug and everyone, we're going to host the Hangover 2 at the track on January 2nd. Will be the second race of the two races. The first one, the original Hangover, will be at Sandusky, with them running that program, and then we will run our program on the second. So it will be identical rules. Everything is going to be pretty much the same. So same start time, same everything between both the Sandusky race and us. It'll be the three classes: the Champagne stock, the Moonshine stock, and the Whiskey stock classes. So the idea is, let's see who can actually race both tracks, one asphalt, one dirt, and then we're going to put a little extra money in it for the people that can do well at both.
Now, is this going to be like the Sandusky Speedway event, run in any kind of weather?
As long as we can get cars on the track and trailers and trucks into the pit area, that's the only drawback if we would get stuck there. But weather is unpredictable. We've been talking about it. It might be a little harder on us just because we're on dirt, but I think we'll be okay. Mother Nature needs to be nice to us.
Scott, your pit area has quite a bit of stone, so the pits shouldn't be a big problem.
Correct. Although I got stuck there when I raced once, so I know you can get stuck, but we can get people out. But we're going to race. It's going to be all the fun that Sandusky has, except for maybe throwing snowballs at the flagman. But all the other fun that they have, we're going to have.
Yeah, your flagman's a little closer.
A lot closer.
That'd be too easy. So who talked you into doing this? This is kind of big because this is the first race that you're actually going to be. I mean, we've been talking about it all year. You've been fighting the COVID restrictions, and now finally there's going to be a race actually happening on January 2nd. So who talked you into this?
It was a lot of different people coming from a lot of different angles, and a lot of people didn't even know that other people were talking about it. So it kind of came from the bottom up, and there was just so much interest in it. It makes sense. And for us as a track, being right out the gate, this is kind of like a soft opening, so to speak. So we'll be able to understand what we need to do when we kick off the regular season, probably in May, we'll have probably some tests and tunes in April and get what I would say the normal start off with sprint cars and all the rest of the shows. But this is kind of just a fun event. If you go to this race and you don't have fun, you've done something wrong. This is all about having fun and just enjoying some racing and hopefully throwing some snowballs.
Scott, unlike Sandusky, you have hillside parking. Now, weather permitting, will that happen?
Oh, for sure. We definitely want people to be out on the hills. We have more capacity in the hills than we do the bleachers. So we want.
Did they bring a sled? Maybe they can go sledding down the hills.
I tell you, mowing it, sometimes I think I'm going to go right over on the mower. So you go down the backside of some of these hills, you're going to go pretty quick. But I wouldn't go toward the track. That's kind of dangerous.
Yeah. So will there be food, any place to warm up or anything? I know that they got the bar at Sandusky and they do have food there. What's the plans for Millstream?
Yep, we'll have the concession stand will be open. I think we're going to have some heaters around so people can stand in front of some of the heaters. That part again, this is all going to be the first time for us. So we're going to have what I would say a good sized concession stand, but probably won't be the full concession stand we have during the regular season. But hot chocolate and coffee to keep everyone else warm. But we're going to probably bring in some heaters and try to have some areas where people can warm up. We don't have a bar. Can't do that stuff, but hopefully people come out and have a good time. And like I said, it's going to mirror what Sandusky does. And if it wasn't for Chris and Doug, we wouldn't be able to do this. So they've been really instrumental in getting this to go. And I think probably everyone else that's on the show is going to have some type of role. I think Ron's probably going to be racing, and I think Jerry and Scott will probably be doing some announcing. And I don't know, maybe Scott will be racing too, but it should be great.
Maybe you could import some Big D's pizza for the day.
There you go.
Yeah. I do want to say I'm just back to Big D's. I think that we're doing more than one pizza for donations. I think I've won 4 of them so far, so we're going to donate all 4 along with what Dean's offering and give that to a homeless shelter.
That's awesome.
Among the people that have known about this, how many of them have asked, "Are you crazy?"
No. Hey, everyone's racers. We just want to get the track open and get out there and turn some laps and show everyone that this is for real and we're doing this, and it's our group running this race. Sandusky's running their race, we're running ours, but we're definitely together in it as far as common points, common rules. We're hoping that we get a larger turnout by having 2 shows back to back. Get some of the people that would normally just do dirt, go over and try to do the asphalt, and have the same thing happen with some of the asphalt guys come over and do the dirt. And Ron's probably very excited about this because I think he might have an advantage a little bit. But there's people that have been doing it.
There's another family member that's pretty excited about it too. So
yeah,
He knows how to win.
Yeah, the one that beat you last year.
yeah. Real cute.
So this is this January 1st this year. It's on a Friday, I do believe, right? So the 2nd is going to be a Saturday, so it kind of works out. So it's a long weekend. Yeah, I think that was part of what was part of your pitch to Scott to try and make this happen. I was like, hey, it's a long weekend. We got some more racing to do. So let me ask Doug and Chris, how do you think a lot of the guys, there's a lot of dirt and asphalt guys that show up for the hangover race. Do you think a lot of those asphalt guys will be coming down to Millstream then and trying their stuff on the dirt?
Go ahead, Doug. I said I'd be quiet.
They're going to be what?
He said he'll be quiet.
Talk.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, we're looking for as many as we can get down there, and I agree. I think that we're going to have a cross promotion there, so a lot of the dirt going to come over. We have a lot of dirt anyhow, but I think we'll pick up some. And then with the asphalt drivers, I think they're going to give it they'll give it a go. I truly believe that.
I just left the Renegade, our front wheel drive. I left a safety meeting we were having with them guys, and I've talked to these guys in the chat room. The board, it's an LLC Renegade Stock Series, and there's a lot of interest in a few of these guys going up and crossing over. A lot of them guys said they've never run dirt, they've wanted to, and I know in the front wheel drive, which would be, I believe, the whiskey stock. Them guys, I believe you're going to see quite a few of them guys come over from asphalt and try their hand on dirt.
And Millstream, fun track for them to do that on.
Well, this is actually pretty cool if you really get down to it. I mean, it's like almost, I don't know if you can remember the Cono Press Sprint Series days back in the early 90s where the 305 series would run Attica on Friday and come to Sandusky or somewhere and run, the next day asphalt. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of that. We haven't seen a lot of that in the past years, but I think this, Scott, me and Doug were talking, and I know Ron probably had a big hand in it, and this is just a great crossover. I think it's going to be a huge event, and something Scott can probably talk a little more about it, something that we're not looking at just doing this year, we're looking at doing in the future.
Oh, that was going to be my question. Does this just have to limit itself to the hangover race? At some point in the future, could we see cross promotion on a midsummer event?
I'm all for it myself personally. I'm all for it, and I don't know how the Dirty 30 comes to mind, Ron.
Seems to be a common thread. I don't know.
But, I'm all for something in the fall, if things work out and I'm all for a sprint late model type deal, 305 sprint late model type deal, where we run one night and go to the other the next night.
Now, you mentioned somewhat of a spiff, both Scott and Chris and Doug, some sort of a spiff if you win both classes or both nights. Does that go to all classes, all three classes?
Well, we're in a lot of talking stage. I mean, we got a lot of the, like Scott was saying, a lot of the rule package and the details, ironed out. It's same rules and everything. Right now, what we're looking for is no matter if you open a track up for fun or not, there's a lot of cost in opening a track up with insurance and everything else. And right now, we're looking for sponsors at both tracks and donations to, hey, if a guy can go win, like you, Ron, or your son Steve, if a guy can go win Sandusky on Friday night, Friday during the day, and then go over and win Millstream on Saturday, yeah, we'd like to have, a lot of extra money put in for something in all three classes. And but with everything, we're looking for sponsorship and different things that can go with that, donations to that. And Scott had a great idea when we were talking the other day. If someone, we put something up for that or the highest finisher, but if that doesn't, let's say nobody does that, it rolls into next year because the talks that we've had, we are looking, this isn't just going to be a one and done thing. We're looking at its future running this back to back, for the years to come.
Now, I just posted in the comments I got from Doug here. You're looking for pre-registering for this, so you get some idea of how many. Is this pre-registering, Doug? Is this for, if they're running both races or one race, or do you want everybody to pre-register on that link?
Yeah, everybody pre-registers. You're going to have to look at the rules to see which class you fit into. But there's two links. One will go to Sandusky Speedway where you'll register, and then the second link will be Millstream. And I know that you might not know exactly, but as long as you get registered, it makes it way easier on race day. You could come in and we got you already in the system. So just look at the rules and see which class you fit into, and if it changes when you get to the track, we'll move you in the system.
All right, and I know I always ask this each year, and I'll ask Chris this again. Can I run my 4-barrel and unhook the two?
Yeah. Yes, every year I tell you yes.
All right, just making sure. I got to cover my bases here.
The only question I got, Ron, is it come up, and I can't remember what the hell. Actually, me and Ron talked about the sideboards and what would be the moonshine stock. What the hell did we agree on? I can't remember.
I think it was either a sprint wing or the little 2x4 wing.
Did we agree on something, or did race day practice? Yeah. What we had originally discussed was a 2x4, 2 foot by 4 foot panel on the left rear would be just fine. But then I guess a sprint car wing on top was okay day of the race. I'm going to throw it back to you, Chris.
Well, we had a truck show up with a sprint car wing on the top, and we let it run. So
Yes.
I really.
You might have a stock car show up with a sprint car wing on top too.
I think that did happen a couple of years ago, if I can remember. There was a Camaro with a sprint car wing on the top, but we made him run up with Ron and them guys champagne stocks. But I'm not too happy about that sprint car wing on the top. I don't care if they're in the champagne stocks. I'm going to have a little discussion with Ron offline about that, because we were offset with the 2x4. That's what I thought it was, but we were okay with that, and we didn't want to go any higher than that. But
all right. Well, another question off the rules here. We were talking about a year ago, or I guess wasn't even a year ago, Sandusky Speedway for sale. So we weren't even sure that this race was going to be happening. What is the status with the sale? Because I see that you've already got some big events already announced for next year already.
I should refer this to Doug, but I'll take it. There's some things that have happened at Sandusky, unfortunately. Cancer is took place in our family with Bev, and the COVID-19 setting in, the coronavirus and everything else that's hit us right now, for Kevin Jaycox, it would have to be his asking price or a little more before he'd consider it. And I can tell you this right now, 2021 is safe. We are running a 2021 season. Unless somebody come in there, with hell, like my famous line, if you give me the right amount of money for my shoes, I'll walk home barefoot, But I mean, yes, it's for sale, but no, it's not, if that makes any sense. Yes, it's for sale for a stupid price.
Everything's for sale for the right price, right?
For sale. And I guess that's, for the right amount of money, everything's for sale. But we've kind of pulled back on that for sale. With everything going on personally in the Jaycox's life right now, we're looking at the 2021 season without selling the track. And if you ask me personally, I could see, Doug can probably vouch for this, I could see that sign coming down in the next month or two.
All right. Well, that's
some
good
of us
news.
We're very pleased with that.
Yeah. So, hangover race at Sandusky, this is pretty much business as usual for you guys, and now teaming up with Millstream. How big is that for you guys?
I can tell you this, and I don't mean to take up for once. I said I wouldn't talk much to Scott and Doug.
I know that wasn't going to happen, but
I think it's huge. I really think it's huge, and for Millstream to be opening up, a lot of people ought to be excited about that. And unfortunately, Scott picked a year where, we've all struggled, especially at the beginning of the year. It was a dogfight, and But to cross promote something like this between dirt and asphalt, I can't remember the last time, if ever, except for
I was
the
gonna say, is this an unprecedented thing? I don't know. I've never heard of a dirt track and an asphalt track working together.
Well, you know, it used to be, like I say, back in the late 80s through the early 90s, a counter press sprint series, you know, back when the 305s were an affordable division. And, you know, we used to cross promote a little bit with that series. But, you know, for the last 30 years, I'd have to say I haven't seen it. I don't know. You know, I've been around almost 30 years. I haven't seen it like this. And I think that, you know, with the sponsorship money that can be raised and donations into it, I think that it'd be well worth guys to come out and try both tracks. And I also told Scott in conversation this week, this could grow the car counts at both places. You know, I mean, like I say, these Renegade guys that we got, front wheel drive guys, you know, I got several of them that are real interested in trying their hand on dirt. And so, I mean, and the front wheel drive class, I mean, everybody makes, you know, it used to be back in the day, and I know I'm gonna piss somebody off, but it used to be back in the day, them were, you know, you brought them in, they didn't run for a trophy or whatever, they helped pay the purses for what was so-called the upper divisions. Now, you know, at Sandusky Speedway, our Renegade divisions are one of our premier divisions, and these guys are no joke. And, you know, for them guys to come out and start running, they'll be a contender even on dirt.
And the tracks are pretty similar. I mean, they're both long straightaways, tight corners. So, if you know, other than the surface being different, that's going to be pretty much the only difference between the two. That and the walls. You got the inside walls all the way around, right there at Millstream. So I don't know. It'll be fun. Looking forward to it. But I want to bring Scott back in here. Just have one last question for him.
Sure.
I mean, this is going to be your first actual racing event at Millstream Speedway since you've taken over. What's it earlier this year? Are you excited about this? And do you have any ideas or anything you can share on some events for 2021 other than this race?
Yeah, we're super excited about it. I mean, we wanted to get a race in last year. It just wasn't working out. And then there's a little bit better understanding of how we can get people in safely, how we can do the social distancing and all that good stuff. And so we just ran out of time at the end of last year. And then this was just, I mean, the more people talked about it, the more excitement there was. And the more people said they'd come out and watch it, the more people said they'd come out and drive in it. Then I was like, this makes sense. So once we got that established that we could do this, then we kind of went from, we were doing some long-term projects at the track. And now we're back to the short-term, getting everything ready for January 2nd. And then back to our longer-term projects right after that race. And, like I said, we'll probably have tests and tunes coming out in April. And then we'll get back to what we wanted to do in 2020, starting in May of 2021. You know, probably, and the one bad thing, and there's no bad thing, but the one thing to note for the hangover is there's no sprint cars. You got to have fenders to race in this. So we are leaving out, you know, the biggest cars that normally come to the track. But I want to make sure all the sprint car guys know you'll definitely be at the track. You guys will be the first show once we hit in the spring. This show is just, this is a fun show. So this will be great. And then we'll get back to, you know, 410s, 305s. We'll probably do the trucks and the bombers. I know the modified guys have been really active calling and texting and emailing. The compact guys. So the compact guys who've been contacting me all fall and, you know, going into this time, come out the first, because you guys have been asking to come out during the regular season. So I need you guys to come out on January 2nd. So it'd be great. Especially some of the Oak Shade guys have been really bugging me. So come on out.
Scott, for
Not
what it's
naming
worth,
names, but there's somebody who wins a lot of races out there who's been bugging me.
for what it's worth, Scott, forget about track prep on New Year's Day. Make it as hard and packed as you can.
Mother Nature is going to have a lot to do with that. So
yeah, get it
But I
rolling.
do, you know, but talking with Chris and Doug, they both said the best turnouts is when you get some snow. And it only, it's cool when you can do something different. My understanding of the rules, and I've been to one hangover. It was with Ron, and he's racing Stevie's truck. But I don't remember getting to throw snowballs. But I guess we can throw snowballs as long as there's no red or green flag. Any other flag, you can throw snowballs at the vehicles, but except during those 2 times.
Yes, and once again, not at whoever's going to be flagging at Millstream, because your flag man's on the spectator side, whereas at Sandusky, he's on the infield, so it's a little bit more of a challenge to hit him there. Speaking of which, Doug, Chris, is it still hit the flag man and get a hot dog?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm sure he appreciates that.
Wait up to get a hot dog.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys all coming on, making this announcement. Looking forward to go. Who's talking?
I am Scott.
Oh.
Just 1 second. We've been talking to Scott for a few months now. I'm not sucking up to him, so no, I'm not looking for a job. All right, so it's been a real pleasure, and I Doug could probably say the same thing. It's been a real pleasure, and it's nice to see some kind of new blood with new ideas, and this is just a great idea. And Scott, you've been a pleasure to talk to. So that's the nicest thing come out of my mouth in the last 2 weeks with everything.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a real pleasure. And honestly, if anybody, if you're watching this is a great opportunity. It's a great beginning. And I want to thank Scott for reaching out to us and making us part of it.
I'll have to get you guys a room or something. I don't know.
You guys aren't used to me I haven't even talked politics.
Like, who are you?
Politics, Ron.
What?
That's a different show.
Yeah. So we'll have I'm sure we'll have all you guys back on probably before our last show before the holidays to get an update on everything that's going on, and we'll go over prices and times and all the details and everything, because I'm sure you'll probably have all that sorted out by then. But appreciate you guys coming on again. You got 2 hangover races this year. The Hangover, the original at Sandusky on New Year's Day, as it is each and every year, and now the Hangover 2 at Millstream Speedway. We've been saying that racing's coming back. I didn't expect it to be in the middle of winter, but this is cool. I'm excited about it.
Very quick start. We got to get going right away.
Absolutely.
I think this is going to be a great kickoff for you, Scott, and for Sandusky. I see this being their biggest car count hangover race in a lot of years. I think it's a win for both tracks.
I hope so.
I think so. Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you, Scott from Millstream, for coming on. Chris and Doug from Sandusky. Again, we'll check back in with you next month, a little over a month. Couple weeks out from the races, I should say.
Yeah, I think both Doug and Chris will probably do the same. We'll start posting what we have up on the website and Facebook. If anyone is interested, or any company is interested in sponsoring, definitely get a hold of any 3 of us, and we're working this together. If there's a specific track, that's great, but really we're also looking for people to do the crossover, because that's really where a lot of fun is at.
Now, is that crossover? That's for all 3 classes then? Is that what you guys are thinking? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep. And again, I can't thank Doug and Chris enough. Thanks, Steve.
Some A-team reference there. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it when a plan comes together.
You guys were talking about what this is like. I like to remember Run DMC and Aerosmith came together. That's about what this is.
You guys are going to walk this way, huh?
Yes, we are.
All right. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Doug. We'll talk to you guys.
All right, thanks.
Don't forget to pre-register. There's no cost, no charge, but it'll certainly let the tracks know how much interest there is.
Yes. All right. I think I got the right clicks there. So looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty cool.
That's huge.
I love it.
So I definitely have my New Year's weekend plans. So you got a Friday for New Year's Day. So I'm pretty sure most people have that off, and going to be at Sandusky on the 1st, and then Saturday the 2nd, right there at Millstream Speedway. Again, keep up to date, millstreamspeedway.net, their website, or make sure to follow them on Twitter. Or Facebook. So there you go.
I noticed that Brian Nelson suggested that they should reduce the side panels, and quite honestly, I don't have an opinion on that.
What?
I'm not married to my sideboard.
You're the sideboard master.
I enjoy that, but yeah, I think we've got enough laps, definitely on dirt and certainly around Sandusky, that will be good either way.
All right, how about we're running a little long tonight, but how about we get to how many here before we...
Chris says nope.
Nope. Before we wrap things up, last week's how many was how many caution flags were going to be in the Cup race at Martinsville on Sunday? And the answer was 12. And remember, last week we instituted a new rule where you can guess the same number as somebody else. We're not going to eliminate you or just go for the first person that guessed it, to kind of open it up a little bit more. So all the correct guesses will be subject to a random drawing. This week, or last week, I should say, there were 2 people that guessed correctly the number of cautions online. And one of them was Dean, the owner of Big D's Pizza. So I figure he can get his own Big D's Pizza whenever he wants. So the other winner was Matt Swander.
All right.
12 was the number of cautions, and he picked 12. And as far as the show winner, I mean, of course, it's going to be me because I picked 13, and you guys all picked higher. So I don't know what else to say there. Yeah.
Sun shines somewhere once in a while. I don't know.
I know what you're trying to say.
Throw a caution for that spinning car coming to the checkered flag.
Well, that was kind of an intentional caution. He was trying to help. Well, I still would have won because I would have been right on at 13.
Yeah.
Anyways, this week's how many, and your chance to win a Big D's Pizza is how many laps? Again, we're going with the NASCAR stuff here. How many laps will the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion lead at Phoenix on Sunday? So we don't know who the champion is. So it's one of those 4 guys. How many laps is that guy who's going to win the championship going to lead? Post your guess in the comments. I didn't even look at. I was going to look up how many laps the race is. I forget how many laps they run out there. It's a
1 mile track.
But it's like a kilometer race, isn't it?
I don't know.
So well. Anyways,
somebody help us out. How many laps is Phoenix?
Well, people are posting their guesses now, so
I know. Guess
how many. And like I said, if somebody else guesses the same number as you, it's okay because you can still 0 might be a good guess. You know, you're still in for a chance to win. We'll just draw for whoever has it, but you cannot guess more than once. If you guess more than once, you get this. You get the black flag. So nobody wants that.
No spin-off this week?
No, because it was just Dean and Matt, and I just decided to give it to Matt because, like,
no, for the championship race. Could there be a spin-off there?
Yeah, if multiple people guess the same number, but so far I have not seen any. They're kind of ranging from 0 to 143 right now. So, what do you guys? Well, I guess I have to guess first since I won last week. I just didn't. I'm gonna go with 143 because that's what John Deere said. I'm going with his guess.
What'd John Young say?
He said 12.
That's where I'm going.
That's a good one. That's not bad.
I'm going to go out on my own here. I'm going to say 37.
37.
But
okay.
I don't think that the Cup champion will win the race.
Ooh, okay. Is Kathy around, or is she down in?
She's still in Florida.
In Florida. All right. So I guess
her return is a little uncertain with her mom's health.
Gotcha. Oh, no. So if you're listening to us on iTunes, Google, whatever podcast now, listening to us live, you can still get in on the how many and a chance to win the Big D's Pizza. Just find the video, which will be on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report, and put your guess in before, I don't know what time the race starts. You just said earlier, like 3 o'clock. We'll say noon.
Sunday.
You have until noon on Sunday to put your guess in. And again, only one guess. And you can guess the same number as somebody else. And then you'll just be putting a random drawing if there's a tie. So there you go. And that's, oh, no, I forgot. We have a Hammer Down hotline to get to tonight.
Ooh.
It's a very important Hammer Down hotline here. We don't get too many of them. Again, if you would like to call the Hammer Down hotline, which is available 24 hours a day, it's manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's manned by a automated answering system. 419-318-3081. Again, that's 419-318-3081. Feel free to call whatever you want to talk about, and we'll wrap up the show with it if you actually call. So here's our Hammer Down hotline for this week.
Hey there, Scott, Ron, and Jerry. My name's Grayson Warner. Scott, you might remember me from starting your car down at Millstream. I'm Grayson Warner, Scott Warner's son, the promoter, Millstream. Scott, I think you remember me from when I started up your car when you came down to Millstream that one time. Tonight I had a question for Scott. We've all been asking the question, what is that track behind Scott Hammer's, wherever he's doing his recording? To us it looks like a slot car track, but we've been wondering what it really was behind him. So, we just wanted to say we enjoy watching the show every night, and you guys always put on a good show, and can't wait to hear my own voice on the TV. It'll be pretty cool. Keep up the good work, and yeah, have a good night.
I hope you enjoyed hearing his voice on the TV there.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're watching on. This thing back here, it's all tattered and torn. It's actually a train set from my childhood that I wasn't going to bring with me to this. I moved into this house last year, and my brother was going to inherit it, I guess. And then he decided he didn't want it. And so I decided, well, okay, I'll take it. But we kind of ripped it up while it was moving, so it's kind of tattered. And that was going to be my winter project to work on this year, is to get that back up and running. Because right now there's just tracks on it and some boxes you can't see. So not slot cars. But this room originally was kind of an extra room, and I was going to put some slot car racing tracks in here. Also a project that would require having a job. So that's kind of put on hold as well. So I hope that answers your question. So there you go.
Well, it sounds like you do have a job coming for a winter project over my shoulder.
Yeah, that ought to hold me for for the whole year, I'm sure.
Oh man, at least we'll be fed.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Next week on the show, we have our Oakshade Raceway champion, Steve Kester, Rusty Smith, Ricky Reif, and Eric Carr will all be joining us, all four division champs. And then 2 weeks from tonight, our last show before Thanksgiving. Wow, I can't believe Thanksgiving's coming.
Wow.
You know what? I was outside just before we came on earlier tonight. One of my neighbors had just put up their Christmas lights.
I've seen a lot of people online, my friends, saying they took the chance with the weather being nice to get out and do that.
You know, if it's just the weather, that's fine. But boy, if they're planning on turning them on next week,
they were on. They were on.
Yeah, well,
no way.
Yeah, there's gonna be a turkey coming down the road and gonna rip them all down. I bet. It's like, this is my holiday first. Don't forget about me. Eat me. Anyway,
yeah.
2 weeks from tonight, it's going to be our Fremont champions, Nate Dussel, Sean Valeni, both joining us again. We threw out the invite to Paul Weaver. Maybe we can convince him here within a couple weeks to come in and join us as well. So.
If you know Paul Weaver, call him up, tell him, hey, the Hammer Down guys promise not to bite.
And I would more position it this way, but tell him his fans want to hear from him. Want to hear how excited he was to win championships at 2 tracks this year. He had a great season. I mean,
yes,
I'm sure he's not upset. But thanks to associate producer Dave Kemmer, field correspondents Matt Swander and Doug Dock, and everybody joining us tonight. Scott Warner, Chris Mize, Doug Dock, Cap Henry, Devin Shiels, you guys. So, and big show last week. We had a lot of fun with Dr. Jerry Punch and Bounce Rider last week. A lot of good stories
cool
there.
Was
that was pretty sweet. So if you missed last week's show, definitely go back and check that out, either on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or on watch the video, YouTube, wherever. Yeah, if you watch it, you can see them.
Dr. Ryder did say he may be open to him, and Dr. Punch may be open to coming back on sometime. So maybe we'll get to hear some more of those stories, some of the other stories from over the years.
Yeah,
that was the show that was easiest on your mega celebrities from Hammer Down, because the show did itself. We just had to sit back and listen.
Yeah, I think I don't even think I got through a quarter of all the questions I wanted to ask those guys.
Yeah, we needed a 3-hour show to get through the questions, and then another 2 hours to let them riff and talk about the different things over the years. They both have a great history in racing.
Absolutely. So, some cool shows coming up the next few weeks as our championship month continues, and then we'll come back after Thanksgiving with the Sandusky Speedway champions. So yeah, don't forget to go and vote for us on the Best of the Toledo City paper. Best of Toledo 2020 for best podcast, best local podcast, one of the 6 finalists. Thank you guys for nominating us. Do that every day until next week, and then we'll remind you to do it again every single day.
And don't worry, there'll be no lawsuits if you vote for us.
Unlike the last election, vote often.
Yes, we're not going to ask for. We may ask for a recount. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Thanks to Ron Miller Race Cars, Big D's Pizza, Millstream Speedway. Again, for supporting the show. And if you'd like to help us out with some studio equipment that some of the stuff might be going away, get a hold of me and we'll discuss some studio naming rights and some other ads and some other cool stuff. So thanks to everybody for making the show happen. And that's it. I'm out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
See you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report.